whenever you're ready.
Hello, welcome to another episode of It Does It Get Better. I'm Neil Rubenstein,
And I'm Rich Gaccioni,
and that's Sunday
and
in
that's
his lap.
Sunday asking for all the affection right now.
Yeah. They used to, Rich used to affectionately refer to that cat as Other Cat, because he had a cat that he loved much more than that cat.
This is true.
But that cat's so adorable.
She's all right. See, the thing, I mean, so the thing is with her, the cat, previous cat, being Buddy, he was like the man. He was like my first cat, my first animal, the whole deal. And then I got her as like a friend, and she just ended up being like such a little brat, and like beat him up and stuff. And I was like, oh, you can't beat him up. But now he's gone, and she's still here. So I guess eventually I gotta like, care about her a little bit. I tell you, she doesn't give up. She hasn't taken the hint, and it's been almost let's see, when did I get her? 2012, so 8-9 years.
Come on, you making like you don't. I've seen you with that cat, even when Buddy was around. You love that cat.
Yeah, it's just it's a very, very good ongoing joke. That's probably the one thing that I've been able to hold on to for this long. It's the ongoing joke.
The fact that I didn't know it had a real name until recently is amazing.
Yeah.
I really thought you just called it Other Cat. That cat has no idea what its name is.
No, she has
There's
no
no
idea.
way.
She has no idea. Hi, cat. I call her cat. I mean, every day it's just like, hi, cat. Like,
Cat.
what's up, cat? Yeah. And you weren't alone too. There were plenty of people too that were like, wait a second, what? Like I even got texts after the fact, like, hold on a minute. Like, yeah, she has a name. She has a dumb, stupid, idiot little name. And look at her. Oh. Still loves me though.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I thought there was like a thing going around. This comedian named Jimmy Peoples. He always like posts questions, and then like 400 comedians answer the question,
Mm-hmm.
trying to like one up each other. But he asked, what do all men raised by single women have in common? And there are some good answers, but I went with men raised by single women be shopping.
That's a good one. That's good.
So stupid.
Is that like Tracy Man is the bastard? Like that kind of
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
like one of those things.
Tracy Man, that's good.
Tracy Chapman is the backer. Yeah.
Tracy Chapman is the best.
That's
Right.
it. Yeah.
That was Steve Padula taught me to do that. I didn't know to do that until was that the same you were on that tour?
Yep. Hey, funny thing that we bring this up. When I was talking to you yesterday, I sent a bunch of those videos into Sunny to get archived. One of the tapes that I had sent him, I had no idea what was on it. It was rival schools. There's the ghost footage, Thursday footage, Walter playing acoustic on the bus, and also me and you in a rest stop at like 4 a.m. on September 11th. Yeah.
And we're talking about going to the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
That's the video.
Yeah.
Dude, I was talking to someone about that video the other day. I was like, I'm on video, time stamped. It's 4 a.m. Pacific, which means it's like 7. It was like right before the towers.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the towers.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the craziest thing. Are you getting that digitized?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's digitizing everything, dude. And he's gonna send me the stuff, like the B-roll as he calls it, like the non-band stuff. But he's gonna send me everything too. So,
dude, I need that.
Yeah, it's wild, huh? I haven't thought about that in so long.
Dude, I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
Because everyone's always like, oh, 9/11, and I'm like, and also whenever, anytime it's not this is trigger warning.
Yes.
every time it's 9 p.m., 9:11 on the clock,
Yep.
I go, it's 9:11, make a wish, which I know is bad. But you can't wish that 9/11 never happened because then you wouldn't be able to make that wish.
Uh,
So it's like a
it's like a it's a thing.
so to all the viewers who just tuned in, yeah, I'm a horrible human.
Yeah.
Okay. Today's episode, freaking out.
Freaking out.
Speaking of freaking out, first of all, before we speak of freaking out, I
Yeah.
want to go back two conversations ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was the infinite loop one. It was blonde redhead PE town concrete blonde redhead. It's an infinite loop.
It is an infinite loop. Yes. Jesus. I like that game.
Oh, Rich. The episode is freaking out.
Freaking out. We freaking out.
It's you came up with the topic. I know you have a ton to say about it. I just want to say that I had a little bit of a freak out the other day.
What happened?
I don't know that I want to get fully into it,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been very depressed ever since.
Mm-hmm.
It's Can you hear that bass from my upstairs neighbor? No.
No.
Um, it is. It feels as though someone I cared about very much told me they don't care about me.
Mm.
Like I just recently I was able to figure out that someone that I felt dear about, like
Mm-hmm.
a close friend. I'm not their close friend.
Okay.
I'm just part of the I'm part of a squad. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not I don't hold a special place there,
Okay.
you know? And I always held them I always held them in like high regard, like up there with you and Dubin and whoever
Sure.
else. And then to find out just like there had been hints for a while where I was like, oh, this person doesn't give a shit about me. And then to have them basically say it out loud, I was like, all right, whatever. I'll go fucking fuck myself. Um,
So what
so
did
yeah, a bit of a freak out. What?
okay, so from there you kind of had a freak out, like, so
Yeah,
you're
well, it was
basically like
like,
replaying everything that's led you up to the point of
well, yeah. So like the argument at hand was a minor argument, but not argument. It was a minor disagreement. But I was feeling the weight of years of neglect.
mm-hmm.
And so my response could have felt unwarranted or as an overreaction,
Mm-hmm.
but uh, for me, it it wasn't it wasn't an overreaction because I was reacting to years of like coming through in the clutch for someone once in a while doesn't fulfill your obligation to friendship.
Right. Right.
Because I've had strangers come through in the clutch for me, and I've
Mm-hmm.
come through in the clutch for strangers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I had a kid I haven't spoken to in 20 years bring me a knee scooter because he knew I needed it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's like that doesn't. We're not best friends. That doesn't alleviate you of your being there when I need you
Right.
duties. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like I don't need like I've gone 6 months a year without speaking to you, but it was just like, oh, we just didn't have time for each other, and then when we had time we caught up as quickly as possible.
Right. I always feel like it's
And
like a pause, like it's an understanding.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we're just yeah. So I'm not like a needy friend, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like don't make an excuse to not be a part of something with me, and then like for instance, like I'll be like, oh, I have a broken leg. I'm inviting people over tonight. Uh, it'll be just the four of us.
Hmm.
So, wear your mask if you don't feel comfortable. And then the response will be like, oh, I can, COVID, whatever. I'm nervous about COVID. And then their Instagram story later that night will look like the opening sequence from How I Met Your Mother. You know what I mean? Like they're just like at bars, like
Yeah.
taking photos with
Yeah.
Ted and the boys. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if you don't want to come over, that's fine, but don't. I don't know.
No,
I don't,
that's a
I mean,
clue.
that's like a minor thing, but this is like I don't know. Going through in the clutch does not alleviate you of your friendship
Right.
duties. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
still have to be there for people when they need you, and uh, sick of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you said something about an overreaction
Mhm.
to something, and I think I wanted to talk about that real quick because sometimes we as people will be like, "Oh, I overreacted," or "I'm overreacting," but like your reaction is warranted. And sometimes it'll feel like an overreaction because of how intense the reaction to a situation is for you. Like we all like will react in a way to some things. We don't know how we're going to react until we're in that situation. And then our brain is like, "Oh, you're overreacting." Or somebody else will be like, "Oh, you're overreacting." Well, no, I'm not overreacting. I am reacting exactly how I'm meant to react to this situation. Because the more it hurts you, the more your reaction is going to be. And an overreaction is a way to kind of like downplay your feeling. You're exuding this feeling to other people, and you don't want them to feel like burdened by it. It's like, "Oh, I'm overreacting," or whatever. I
It's like a
think
gaslight. It's like gaslighting.
yeah, yeah. And I think what I've learned recently is that sometimes you're conditioned to be like, "Oh, I'm overreacting. I need to like tone this down." But sometimes you can be like, "You know what? My reaction is completely warranted. That thing that happened to me sucks and is not fair, and the situation itself, I put whatever it was that I was supposed to put into it, and I didn't get back what I was supposed to. This reaction is fine." And overreaction sometimes is actually just a completely fine reaction. I always felt like any reaction that I had to anything was an overreaction because I'm
Right.
so conditioned to being like, "Oh, I don't want to burden you with these feelings. I'm overreacting. Let me just." So then I just like completely went to the opposite side and never reacted at all because
Yeah. And I feel like also like what you're saying is like interesting because it's like my overreaction is a sign that obviously there's something else at play.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I'm giving you a warrant, like I'm giving you a signal. You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
saying like, hey man, obviously it's not just this. And then, you have an opportunity to be like, yeah, sorry you feel that way or whatever
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
instead like if you choose to double down on like the I don't give a shitness of it, then it's like, all right, well, I don't know. So I just feel like I've been broken up with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just like a shitty feeling. What how'd that DMV thing go?
Yeah. Let's talk about
Do
that.
you have glasses in your
Let's
what is that deflecting? I'm asking you
no,
we're
no,
doing a
no,
pod.
no. I'm saying let's talk about it because there's so much there.
Do you have to wear glasses in your ID now, in your ID photo?
I do not. So
Okay,
let's
cool.
touch on that real quick. You know how? Okay, so I was worried about taking the vision test. Well, because of COVID, they don't do the vision test anymore because they don't want people putting their face on that machine, or they don't have like the pull down screen like in the 1950s anymore behind the. So they give you a piece of
At our
paper.
DMV, it's just like, oh, it's like across the thing.
Yeah, the one I went to where I was, they do like the machine, that old ass like machine that you put your
Uh-huh.
face in, whatever. Well, they don't do that anymore because of COVID, and they
Huh.
just give you a piece of paper that says do you testify under whatever law that you do not wear corrective lenses? And I don't wear corrective lenses. So you just sign your name and that part is over with. You're like, no, I don't. So no, you don't.
And
So
then if you do wear corrective lenses,
I guess there's another part to it that I don't know what the answer is. Yeah, so so I could definitely have had awful vision and not wanted to deal with it and said, no, my vision's fine. So that's how they're dealing with that. Signing a paper that says your vision's okay. So that part,
I'll bring my glasses, I suppose, with the 9,000 pieces of paper.
yeah. So that part was like a relief. So I had to do two things.
You definitely don't hear this.
I can't. No.
Well, now it's not happening, but
Are they having a party upstairs or what?
blasting whatever this is.
Yeah, I can't hear anything.
Okay. It's as if they're recording something, because it's just like the same thing. Like it'll be like bum 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 bum. It's like
Nothing. I can't hear a thing.
okay, good, all right.
So I had to do two things when I went to the DMV. As I mentioned, I had to.
I should wear my headphones.
That would probably alleviate it. I had to get
They're all the way over there. Sorry.
I had to get my license.
Right.
And I had to get my car registered. And the license, I was like, all right, I had this big, I got up that day. I was like so nervous. I like didn't sleep the night before. It was like anxiety 100%, stress level 100%, freak out level 100%. Get there like a half hour before they even say that you're supposed to. I was just like making sure all the pieces were in place. So I get there. There's like 3 people in front of me. I get inside. It took 1 minute to get to the window. All right, cool. That was great. Made an 8:30 appointment, was inside at 8:32, and I was at the window by 8:35. I was like, all right, cool. Didn't have to wait at all. So I was like, all right, I got to do license registration. All right, let's do the license thing first. The vision thing, he was just like, all right, we'll get that out of the way. I gave him all the pieces of paper, like the proof of address. Okay, cool. License thing, clickety-clack, does all this thing, whatever. Okay, good. I was like, all right, great. So he gives me a license thing, and he's like, all right, we'll do the registration. He's like, do you have the title? And I gave him the title that I was provided by the car company, which is a photocopy of the title, which when I read on the checklist of things to do, that you can have a photocopy of the title if there's no lien holder, and there was no lien holder. So I give him and he goes, And I was like, oh no. As soon as that first came out of his mouth, I was like all the wind came out of my sails. I was like, okay. He's like, so they didn't give you the original title? And I was like, no, because on the checklist it says you can have a photocopy if there's no lien holder. And he's like, no, if you need the original title if there's no lien holder. Like the way this checklist was worded made me think that the photocopy was okay. And I was like, well, why wouldn't they have known this? They must deal with this all the time. He's like, yes, we do deal with this all the time, but they have to be explicitly instructed to send you the actual title, not just the photocopy. So I was like, okay, so what's that mean? He's like, well, it means you're going to have to come back and do this again. I was like, okay, well, at least he said it like right off the bat. Like I got the license thing done. And, it was my worst fear come true. It was exactly what I thought. I was like, I'm going to get there. I'm not going to have one right form. I'm not going to be able to do it. So he runs my information. He goes, also, I'm like, also. Now, so before he ran my information, I had prepared myself. There was some outstanding excise tax in my town from my old car that I took care of a few weeks ago. My tax balance was 0. So he goes, oh, also you have an outstanding tax, City of Providence. I was like, oh no, I took care of that. He's like, well, no, you didn't, because it's in our system here. So I'm like, well, what is it? He's like, well, looks like 2019 City of Providence. Like, I haven't lived in the City of Providence since before I lived in California. So this goes back many, many years. And I was like, well, I haven't lived in, like, since. He's like, well, it's there. So here's the number to call. You can call them and I'll figure it out. I was like, all right, cool. Exactly what I knew was going to happen. There's going to be stuff preventing me from just doing this simple task of registering the car. So I sit in my car, and I call. You're muted. You're muted.
And just like bullshit stuff.
Yeah.
That like we all communicate via email. All of a sudden, you guys don't know how to use email. Like,
so exactly.
Everything's computerized. I can't just, all right, what's the thing? All right, let me just take care of it on my phone real quick.
Right.
Oh, no, you have to go to the place and stand on a line and pay a convenience fee.
So all of those things. So I get into my car and I call the town hall, Providence Town Hall, about the tax thing that's outstanding. And the woman goes, what's your info? Blah, blah, blah. She's like, okay, yeah, okay. So I see here in 2009, I'm like, 2009? 11 years ago? Yeah, you have 2 years worth of excise tax on a Mercury Grand Marquis. Oh, okay. And the outstanding bill is $459.15. Huh. Okay. Okay. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, how do I pay it? Like it just like at this point, so I could have freaked out and been like, you know, freak out guy and be like complaining and yelling and screaming and whatever. But you know what? I was just like, okay, how do I pay it? And she's like, you call the number, you can pay it by phone, whatever, or you can go online and do it. Okay. So let me give you this excise tax on this car, this Grand Marquis, was after I had sold that car to a acquaintance of mine. Now, this is on me. This is and everybody who's listening, like I recognize this is completely my fault and I shouldn't have let this happen, but I did because I was being a nice person, as I do sometimes. I sold this car to my friend and I left him the registration. I left the plates on the car. I said, just get it registered, whatever. The dude never got the car registered in his name. So those 2 years that car was in his possession, he never paid taxes on it. So then he got rid of the car and the plates got turned in or whatever. So those taxes were essentially his responsibility. And they just sat there in the Providence tax limbo that they don't send you. It's 11 years. Don't you think they would have sent it? No, they don't do that. They don't try to get in touch with you. They just let you figure it out 11 years later and then charge you $250 in late fees. The original fees would have cost me $160, but then they charge all these late fees and all this percentages and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, so screw me for being a nice guy and being like, hey, just get the car registered, because it was at a point where my grandfather had just helped me out with a brand new car, and then that old car I sold to my friend for $500. I said, just get it registered. I'll leave the registration on it for you so you can drive it, whatever. I was just being nice. Thought it would be fine. Sure enough, it wasn't fine. Taxes were still outstanding. So I come home and I go online and I pay half of the taxes with one card, and then I was going to pay the other with the other. Because I mean, $500 right now is like, I don't have an extra $500 laying around, but I have to because I got to get my car registered. So I pay half of it, and then I call them back.
And then if you don't get your car registered, then they fine you.
Right.
Like, I can't afford to come. So then you get fined. Well, I can't afford to pay that fine. Then what do? Then they take away your means of transportation.
Yeah.
So you can't get to work. So you can't make the money to pay the fine.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
Go back to what I said last week.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
being poor in America is a death sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just hammer you and hammer you and hammer you.
Yep. I could have used that $460 and paid off a credit card that I've been just nicking away at. But no, now I have to pay this dude who I was going to do a favor for 11 years ago. Anyway, I get home, I pay half of it, and it goes through. All right, cool, it goes through. But then it's still showing the math wasn't adding up. It still said I owed way more than half of what I paid off. So I call them. Oh, you shouldn't have done it that way. You should have just paid. And I'm like, so can you reverse it? No, you already did it. It's in our system. We can't do anything about it. Bullshit. I mean, nowadays
that is bullshit.
It's 2021. You can reverse anything. Yeah. You can stop anything.
And I did it 6 seconds ago. Like,
it's like
I can cancel the credit card before the
exactly. So okay, so I shouldn't have done it that way. No, you shouldn't have done it that way. How do I use another form of payment so I can pay this fucking thing off? Oh, well, you just go use the phone line one and then pay off the amount that you because on their end it showed the right math, but on the website it showed the wrong math. So it's all over. And I'm like, oh, I just wanted to get this taken care of easy. So I go on the phone line, pay it off, whatever. Then I call them back and said, okay, can you release my hold from the DMV?
7 to 10 business days.
8 to 10 business days.
8 to 10 business days.
8 to 10. You're very close. 8 to 10. And I go, 8 to 10 business days, like that loud in the phone. I was like, what takes that long nowadays? You already took my money. Well, we have to wait for it to clear through the bank and...
If it doesn't clear, they charge me, not you.
So, okay, so we have we're closed on Fridays and Monday's a holiday, so call us back on Tuesday. So the steps here, though, just so you know, is that they won't let the DMV know that your tax liability is clear. You legitimately have to call them and tell them to email the DMV and then take a time and date with you to the DMV so the DMV can look in their email to cross-reference when the town hall sent an email to the DMV so they can find your name and verify that your tax liability is zero and you're not blocked at the DMV.
It's definitely the most efficient way.
Very efficient, right? Super efficient. So they can look up and see if I have a block now, but they can't look up and see if I don't have a block. You know what I mean? So you have to call town hall and say, hey, can you email them for me? Like, how is that even? Okay. Anyway, so that's what I have to do tomorrow. I have to call tomorrow morning because obviously, because we live in 2020, my bank has already, the $200 thing that they were looking for to clear is already cleared. Like it cleared a day later, not 8 to 10 days. So I have to call them. But the other side of this too is that I'm waiting for. I had to call the finance company back, and so I called and you sent me the wrong thing. They needed the real title, not just a photocopy. Oh, we're really sorry that they didn't ask the proper questions. I'm like, yeah, like I could have freaked out and I could have, and I was like, so I used what's already like gone wrong as almost a safety net and been like, I can't change any of this now. I can't change a single part of it. It's happening exactly how I thought it was. There was one little thing that was going to go wrong that's led to a whole bunch of other things going wrong. So I was like, listen, can I just make sure that that is sent in a manner that has a tracking on it so I can make sure that it gets to me so I can get this done? And that led to another thing. Like I'm under this time crunch. They gave me an extension to the 14th, but to get all this stuff done. And then when I called on Thursday, I was like, listen, the 14th is on Sunday. None of this stuff is going to happen because you guys sent me the wrong form. Like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll put a note in the system. Okay. All right, cool. We'll see how that works out. But so now I'm waiting for the title in the mail, which they said they're going to send via FedEx. And then I have to make another DMV appointment, which is just like, it's like fighting over crumbs for DMV appointments. I was lucky to get the one that I did. The whole month of February was booked out except that one appointment that I had gotten, like that I made 2 weeks prior. So like, I'm just sitting here, just like all these little pieces are moving around. I guess I had my freak out for this whole thing already. You know what I mean? Like getting all that stuff together and being like, something's going to go wrong. Here we go. Get there, have the thing happen, and kind of just be like, almost just resigned to the fact that like, okay, it went wrong. It went exactly how I anticipated it going, which sucks because The weird part is I had zero physical reaction to it. Like usually, like you'd feel like mad or you.
I'm sick. I'm sick from it.
It was just like, I think I got it all out of my. I like pre-freaked out because when the guy was just like, yeah, we need this and you have a this, and then the lady told me I had a almost $500 tax lie, and I was like, of course I do, of course I do. Well, yeah, of course I do. Like, sure, So now I'm just kind of like sitting here, and I was like, what good is freaking out a second time gonna do? It's not. I'm figuring out all these shitty things that I need to figure out, and I'll get there. And and it sucks. It sucks a lot that this is the way things have to be. For some of us,
it doesn't have to, but it doesn't have to be.
No, you're right.
It doesn't have to be.
You're right.
I feel the same way about this, like this bankruptcy thing. Like, I just know I'm gonna get screwed somehow in a way that was like, oh, well, if you just ask the right question. It's like, well, I'm asking all the questions I can think of asking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know it's just going to be like some last minute, oh, well, you can't live in that apartment anymore. You're going to have to move. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's going to be something like that.
Right,
like,
right. The one thing that got me was the guy was like, okay, let me see the title, please. And I hand him the title. And he goes, oh, this isn't. And I was, okay. What got me is that I called the financial institution and told them precisely what I needed and what I was doing. And yet I got the wrong form. This whole thing could have been, well, I still would have needed to pay the tax thing, but let's just ignore that for a second. That part would have been, I wouldn't have had to sit there and wait another week for it. This person who works for JP Morgan Chase, one of the biggest banks in the world, that does this kind of stuff daily, how could that have gone wrong?
Well, people are bad at their jobs.
Exactly.
We talked about this last week too. People are bad at their jobs. I'm not saying I'm good at, but like, yeah, people are bad at their jobs. It's crazy to think that. Like, it's crazy to think that, like, there's a profession out there that people are like, oh, well, that guy wouldn't mess up. Yeah, everyone's messing up at everything.
Yeah.
A space shuttle blew up.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, someone was supposed to check a fuselage and didn't. Like, they messed up.
Right.
They were bad at the job. I remember, I got, like, I was driving home from work once, and I was driving behind, like, one of those, like, construction-y trucks where they had like the cones piled up, but the guy didn't put the cones on properly, so they stopped, and then all the cones tumbled out. And I swerve and run over one, and now my car's got like all the orange thing on it. And then you go to the body shop, and of course it's like $25,000 because it's the quarter panel is not attached to the thing.
Right,
so
right.
You gotta replace.
Of course.
You gotta replace the whole thing. It's the chip is missing. So I'm like, all right, I guess I have to go through insurance for this. I never go through insurance for anything because it's this hassle, right? So you get the thing. A year later, or whatever, 4 years later. So it's within a 5-year period. 4 years later, I total my car because some girl was driving without her lights on at night. But we have the same insurance company, so insurance is like, no, it's nobody's fault. I realize now I should have just sued.
Right.
Like I didn't realize that. If I would have sued, I probably would have made $100,000. I didn't know. I don't like litigation. I don't call the police. I don't like that stuff. So I'm just like, all right, what's the fastest way out of this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then my insurance company drops me because I had 2 accidents in 5 years.
Of course.
It's like, neither are my fault. Oh, New York State's a no-fault state. What does that mean?
Fault doesn't exist in this state.
It's obviously someone else's freaking fault.
New York is an everybody gets a trophy state.
And the more
Oh
I think
man.
about this Medicaid thing, like inflation goes up every year, cost of living goes up every year, and the threshold for Medicaid stays the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that shit's gotta get raised. What a name! I'm not gonna have. I'm just not gonna have insurance next year. It's like
I don't know what it's I don't know what it'll take. It's crazy. I know what you're going through, and it's a like what can be done, like who's going to have to say something, or who's going to have to do something to help so many people in that same kind of position. Like, it's not the 50s anymore. You don't fucking, have a part-time job and buy a home and pay for your kids' college and buy 2 cars and have 3 kids. Like, people just can't exist. And you're right. I mean, the more that you said, what you said last week about, and today even about how expensive it is to be poor. It's like, that's all I keep reading now. It's like, it's almost like you put it out in the world and that's all I see is just people, so many people just reading stuff about people's situations and people, oh man, I had to go to the hospital, but, out of nowhere, and I didn't have insurance. I don't have a job. And now they're sending me a $50,000 bill. Yes, that's like a thing that can be adjusted, and there's situations where you can I don't have the money, and so you call the department in the hospital, and they'll help you out or whatever. But that's not going to work for everybody. That's not a solution. That's a temporary solution for things. But people need help. People like you and I and millions of other people need help. They need better solutions. And the thing, thinking about freaking out, just can you imagine the mental health of so many millions of people being affected too? Like, people don't want to go outside still just because there's a vaccine for a virus that still is as relevant as it was a year ago. Doesn't mean that everything's over. It doesn't mean you're gonna all willy nilly go work in the general public again. I still do not enjoy going to work, even though it's a very limited contact environment. It's just, but you got to do what you got to do. You gotta make that effort. Make sure you make that effort. You want to make sure that you're working just a little bit, because if you're not working a little bit, you're lazy and you're just living on handouts. And it's just like, what do you want from me, man? Like, what the hell do you want? What does anybody want from anybody? I just want to live. I just want to not wake up and feel like, what am I have to worry about today? What thing am I going to have to worry about today?
And this man, I feel like we're just doing what we talked about last week.
But it's all right.
This false idea that socialist programs are going to limit your freedom. It's like, what freedom? You have to work minimum 40 hours a week to not be homeless.
Right.
What? How much free time do you have? Freedom? What freedom? What are you talking about? So you can say terrible things on the internet? That's freedom? All right, so say freedom. Say terrible things on the internet.
Yeah.
Call me fat in the comments and some kind of Jew remark, or go ahead. That's your freedom? Fine. I will gladly accept that if we can use the army money on something other than the army.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to give Egypt $2 billion in military aid a year. There's not something better we can do with that money.
Mm-hmm.
You have to work in a cubicle or doing roofing or plumbing. Like these people that are like, oh, it's free, my freedom. You're working 50 hours a week to live in the Midwest. What are you doing? Whose side are you on?
Yeah. Some people think that's freedom.
Whose side are you on?
Yeah.
These fucking assholes in Congress took 9 weeks paid vacation since the fucking pandemic
That's
started.
right. Yeah.
And they're squabbling over whether to give us $15 an hour?
Has it is now like a time where it's so much more transparent than it has been, like the absolute like
I don't know. Because I see these things I guess because of the prevalence of social media that
mhm,
there's more visibility on it,
yeah,
but I think people are so overwhelmed. I think what it is you're just so overwhelmed. You're so overwhelmingly the victim. Like you're so
right,
beaten down. It's just like the bark got beat out of you.
mhm,
You know what I mean? Like you're just this sad old dog that can't bark anymore.
mhm,
That's just like, well, what am I supposed to do?
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because not everyone's willing to drive the truck with the bricks.
mhm,
You know what I mean? Like, I'll drive that truck. I got no. I'm glad. I want to drive that truck,
mhm,
and not everyone's willing to do that. Everyone, oh, but things are good enough. I have a good job. You have a good until they fire you because cutbacks because they only made $1 billion this year.
yep,
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Until you get cancer and you have to start a GoFundMe that your rich uncle pays. Like, oh, but things are going. I got nothing to complain. Things are good. Yeah, but your neighbors are starving. We don't care.
well, they
Yeah,
should have got a
I'm
better job.
Listen. I'm fine. I'm fine. I have health insurance. I have unemployment. My wife has a job, full-time job. We have a decent enough apartment. I'm fine. Not everyone's fine.
Yeah,
I'm not settling for I'm fine. He's in constant, not that he's in constant fear of losing a job, but right around the corner could be you're fired.
yeah, yep.
And then what?
Did you just wave it off? Did you just do this? Did you just wave it off? That's what my grandfather used to do. That exact hand motion when he was done talking about something. He just he just waves it off.
Just this idea that we have to destigmatize being poor.
Yeah.
Stop pretending you're just temporarily not rich. You're
Mm-hmm.
poor. You're not you're not destitute, you're not homeless, but you're poor. And you're really just a couple of bad days away from being in the street.
Yeah.
And and this occurred to me the other day. The same people who make the argument, I'm going back to there's cops that are bad at their jobs. The same people who are like, when you're like, the cops need more training, and then they'll go, oh, it's just a few of them
Mm-hmm.
that are bad. Okay, fine, just a few of them, but they're on the street, so maybe we should do something. Fine, it's just a few of them. Then you make the argument we need to raise the level that at which we give out welfare or Medicaid or whatever the thing, and then they go, well, people take advantage of that. Yeah, same percentage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's the same percentage of people that take advantage that are bad at their job on the other side. Like it's going to be the same
Yeah.
category of people.
Yep.
Like, why is just a few bad apples doesn't ruin this, but a few bad apples ruin this?
Mm-hmm.
No, stop. The majority of America are willing to work hard. That's why everyone has jobs and everyone works. If you give a universal basic income, people are still going to want to work.
Yeah, people.
No one wants to sit home and do nothing.
Right. Right.
Maybe they pursue a passion that they're actually good at and give a shit about.
Mm-hmm. Contribute to society.
Yeah, maybe someone becomes an engineer because now they have the opportunity to pursue that, and they don't have to work in the factory with their dad.
Right.
Maybe that $1,000 a month relieves the stress associated with working 60 hours for a guy that hates you, and you don't go to the bar afterward to drink it. You stay home with your wife because you're in a better mood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. We tried this. We tried this with however long we tried this for. It's not fucking working. Try the other thing.
Try something else.
Try the other thing.
No. We have to keep the same things that we've been doing for the past 200 years.
Maybe it's different. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. I don't even know.
Well, you've been trapped at home for a very long time. You have a lot of time to think about this stuff. I mean, rightly so. It's such a feeling. It's like a feeling of punishment, like governmental punishment. If you like lose your job, get let go, temporarily disabled, it's like punish. Like you're
lazy.
Yeah. It's a mental punishment that is put upon you that not all people can handle. Like it's like, oh, I'm on unemployment. Like being like, I'm on unemployment. Like having to be so like, oh, being on unemployment equally like equates you being a lazy, freeloading, non-contributing member of society. Like, but no, wait, why? Why does that have to be where people's minds go immediately? Like, maybe I just need to do something else. Did you maybe think that like the job I was in wasn't for me and I just need to do something else? Can I just get a little help till I get back on my feet? No, you got to figure it out.
We watch these movies and stuff where it's like a class system, and everyone watches and they're appalled at the class. Oh, America would never be what? Yeah, 100% what it's like.
Yeah.
You can't afford to go to Duke. You work at a shitty job. That's exactly what happens.
Yep.
You think it's less random than some other system?
No, not at all. Not at all.
My parents made terrible financial decisions, so I should live in squalor my entire life? Okay. I mean, I have.
It's the American way. Ugh. Well, the way can change, right?
Can we just try something different?
Yeah. Can we just try it? Let's just try it. Just give it a chance. Just give it a chance.
Like, well, if you like how they do it in Switzerland, why don't you go to? They won't take me.
They won't. Yeah, I would gladly go. Do you know how many times I've Googled how to become a citizen of Norway? Because that's like they do it right. They do it.
I would move to Australia given the opportunity to move to Australia.
By the way, this book that I was referencing, Calm the Whatever Down, Calm Down, Calm the F Down, ish kind of books. And I feel like sometimes self-help books have a stigma to them as well. They're like, self-help kind of has this like weird, like, no. These are very, she writes in a very down-to-earth and normal style of situations that will relate to your mental health and situations that make you freak out, get upset, how to deal with stuff. So I highly suggest her books. She's got a few of them out there, Sarah Knight. But the reason I picked the topic of freaking out is because I was on the chapter of so you're freaking out. and all of the stuff that's there, and the reason I interjected here is because it's like we're both at this like level of just like just kind of like we're freaking out, but in a way that's like warranted, but like again it's like not like we feel a certain way, and there's just like we make sense when we speak, but like it's kind of brick walled. And that's like one of those things in this book and in all the therapy sessions I've had, that you have to kind of come to terms with like, all right, I can't fix it right now, but what can I do? What can I do in the long run? Like, what can I do that will make it better in the long run? Like, you are dealing with a lot of stuff, your personal stuff, and your health insurance and money and your job and your career and stuff is all up in the air. And the thing that sucks is that you don't know what to do now to make it good later. And it kind of goes parallel with like where I was at with this like DMV thing as like a small example. Like I had this thing that I was worried about, and I put all this mental energy into it, and I freaked out, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and I didn't do much of anything except what I could do at that moment, which was get all the papers together, check all the boxes off, and then confront the problem, which was going to the DMV. And unfortunately, it didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out, but I was given the solution. Well, go pay this 11-year-old tax bill, get the real title, and then you'll be in business. Not the answer I wanted, but also like expected, because that's what happens in my life. Nothing goes smoothly. Nothing can ever go smoothly. But hey, here's the answer. And it was like a moment, kind of like in this chapter, this freaking out chapter. I kind of like took a deep breath and was just like, "Yep, okay, this is what needs to be done. Then I'll do it." Not all things are going to be like that. Not everything is going to be like, it's not all going to be like, okay, well, just get this form and you'll be fine. It's not all going to be like that. But getting to the point and getting through the freak out and getting through the like highest level of anxiety and stress, it's kind of like a little journey. This was a little test in its experience. It's like, okay, I did it, and it sucked, but I got through it. I'm on the other side. $500 poorer, of course, and more time wasted, of course, but I'll get it figured out. I feel like it can be applied in certain situations. Not all of it would work. I know you have a lot going on with your leg and your financial situation and your job. I wish your job stuff would come back, because I know how much that means to you and how much it's like, not just because it's how you make money. Yes, it is a big part of it, but it's also, it's you, it's your thing. It's like, it's what you've worked on for so long. And if you don't have that thing that brings you joy, you start to doubt yourself, right? It's kind of like, has that ever happened? Have you ever started to be like, oh, maybe I should fucking...
I understand that. I understand that does happen. I never really hung my identity on like a profession or anything like that.
Right.
So like, I that's the one thing that I will say. Like, I'm fortunate, like mentally, because like I'll see it all the time. I'll see like someone whose like whole identity is that they're a stand-up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know,
you gotta have more. You got yeah.
yeah, uh, like I never shied away from like doing a couple things at once and
Right.
being like a like I do pick a thing and then I go like 1,000,000% at it. We know that, but like I'm a stand-up comic. And it's like, yeah, and I'm getting good at editing and
Mm-hmm.
doing some design work. Like I don't, I'm doing other things to keep myself busy and
Right.
to keep myself occupied. Like, I'm not, well, what am I gonna do if comedy?
Yeah,
No,
yeah, that's good. No, I think a lot of us like people like us where we come from in our how we were I want to say how we were brought up, but how we grew up, like doing the things we did, like finding different things that we're good at or different talents that we can, just utilize and not just be like, oh, I'm just I am a lawyer. I am a lawyer and that's all I do. Like we improvise and we, like you're saying. And I think that's good because in the end, shit, maybe it can turn into something more lucrative for you in the end, or you have somebody that, like just down the line needs some design work and passes your thing off to somebody else and somebody else bigger. It just, there's so many possibilities. And I like to look at things in that light, like just making connections and being able to offer more. You don't have to make your whole existence
yeah, I
be
mean,
one
I just
thing.
want to be like a well-rounded
Yeah.
person, and I like to be able to discuss different things, and
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I view myself as a very public and social person, so I want to be able to, you know, be a personality.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. I mean, I'm never gonna drive for Amazon. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Right.
never
Right.
gonna get a job at UPS. Like
Yeah.
I am unable. I'm unable emotionally to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. That's never. You know, but I'm not afraid of. You know that song "Everything Is Free" by Alison Krauss.
Yeah. Yep.
I think Phoebe Bridgers covers it. Yeah. Uh, I'm not afraid of working hard.
Yeah.
I worked hard my entire life. It's who I'm working for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not working for some cunt. I'm not doing you know uh the masculine, not the
Right.
cunt as a like Bezos to me is a cunt.
That's what I've said recently within the last year
That
when
Bezos was a cunt.
yes, I say it every day. No, the
Listen,
idea
when I curse big. Don't.
the idea of working for a company with like manager and district manager and regional manager and store assistant manager and like I've been there and it's awful and it's the worst. I'm not wired for that. I'm not wired for that kind of life. I
Nope.
can't do it. I can do so much more. And if I had to start like, oh, why don't you, like you said, UPS, like that's such a like weird thing because that's what everybody says nowadays because they're like the busiest companies because everything's getting delivered. Oh, just go work for you. No. What? Just go work for you. Okay, I'll just throw away all of the knowledge and skill that I have in so many different places because it's a job. Do you know how much stress would come from starting a job like that and having to start from the beginning and then interacting with like, sorry if, family members a UPS driver, but interacting with dudes all day long that drive trucks? No, I can't.
Also, me, unqualified, whatever, like I'm just gonna go and get that job. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
right. Like it's there for you to pick off a
are there
tree.
people who want that job? You're
Yeah.
just gonna magically. Oh, UPS is hiring. What, 20 hours a week?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I should, I should bust my ass doing things I don't care about. Like just because you give up on your dreams, don't give
Doesn't mean you have to.
up on mine.
Dude, I worked at this place when I was in college called RPS, Roadway Package Systems, and I mean it's essentially the same fucking thing as UPS, but just a different brand. And I worked the overnight shift with my two roommates, and we loaded trucks. And man, and this was like summertime like work. It was like, you know, we went in at midnight and left at 7 a.m. And what a fucking awful job. And I can't imagine people do that every single day as like a living. It was just like packages and you can find where, okay, this one's going, okay, now I got to put it in this truck, and now I got to put it in that truck. And then like so many packages would come out at one time and they never stop the belts, and then the packages would fall off and you'd have to like find the right ones and put them up there. And dude, one day too, a dude who worked there for a while, the one thing was don't walk on the belts. Don't walk on the belts. Don't ever walk on the conveyor belts. This dude thought he was hot shit, right? Because he worked there for a long time and the belts were getting overloaded. So he walked on the belt to get the packages off, fucking sucked his foot right in the belt up to his knee. The alarm goes off, and I fucking witnessed this guy like stuck, screaming, couldn't get because it was at a point where the belts were like connected, right? So you could disconnect them because it was where they, you know, the whatever. And that was the beginning of the end of working at that. Like, just see this, like, no, I can't just do this. I can't do this anymore. There's people and environment and just like, it's just chaotic, just so chaotic. And he came back into work a week later. It was a big cast on his leg. He had broken his leg. But that's my experience. That's why I won't work those jobs anymore.
I mean, you know, some people don't mind. You know, some people.
Yeah, of course. Some people
want something like that.
That's
like,
good for some people.
My buddy Ryan just likes driving. He just puts his AirPods in his ears and he just drives.
Right.
And he's not dealing with anything.
Right.
He's not thinking about anything. You know. And it's like, all right, cool. Like, that's sick. That's sick. That's sick.
That's sick. I'm more of an interactive person. Like I actually like dealing with people, but only on certain terms.
Yeah, like when I tour, I drive for, you know, I'll do like a 12-hour drive and it's awesome, you know what I mean? But I can't, that's not every day.
Yeah.
Can't. Like I'm just booking my tour for April and May, and it just worked out. Like, I was able to get there's a sick show in St. Louis on a Wednesday, and there's a sick show in Austin on a Thursday. And I looked, and it was 12 hours, and I was like, that's not something I've not done already.
Right.
Like,
I guess I could do this.
Like, you know, so make sure I get to St. Louis the night before Wednesday so I can sleep and be well rested. And then as soon as the show's over, hit the road. And my brother lives outside of Austin, so I know, like, I'll have a place to, like, nap and shower and stuff. So it's like, all right, I can do this.
I can do this.
You know, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a long 12-hour drive. I'm gonna, you know, listen to a bunch of podcasts and some death metal, and, you know, maybe, you know, I made a Cake/Kaiser Chiefs playlist.
Okay.
I think they complement each other well. There's no filler on that. It's all hits. So I'm excited. You know, that'll take up a good chunk of time. It's like an 11-hour list.
Jeez.
I don't know, this whole shit.
Well, I think the lesson for today, the topic of today is freaking out, and I think this book that I've been looking at, Calm the Fuck Down, is. I mean, yeah, you can't tell somebody to just calm down.
Yeah, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, don't. First of all, don't tell me what to do. The sentiment is what is meaningful. It's like that's what you should strive for, is calm, is a calm daily life, right? Like waking up. Like, I woke up today, I had to go to the kitchen, my work kitchen, so I could do some bakery stuff. Made a whole bunch of stuff, but I woke up this morning like, that shouldn't be a stress. The bakery thing is like my thing, right? It's like it's my business. I'm providing, and I woke up this morning in a bad mood, and I was like, I don't want to do it. And I was like, no, just relax. Like, this is your thing. This is what you enjoy doing. So I kind of shook it off a little bit. I was like, I needed to like not go down that road of automatically just being like, because I had to do something means it's the end of the world. So I went, I did it. I had a good time doing it. Talked to one of the dudes at the restaurant for a little bit, caught up a little bit, came home, podcast. And the whole time, what's looming in my brain though, that I'm kind of suppressing a lot better than I would have been maybe a couple of weeks ago, is this whole car thing. And it's like, I think I'm learning how to cycle through stress a little bit better than I had. I mean, I know I am. I'm in a different place than I was 8 months ago, where how I react to stress. And it's like calming down is definitely one of the things that helps a lot. Just being like, take a breath. It's not going to be the end of the world. Yes, you can be upset about it. You have to allow yourself to be upset about, but you can't allow it to rule the day. You can't let it rule the week. You can't let it rule the attitude you have towards your friends and your loved ones. It's like, let it have its time, but don't let it consume you, you know? Like, I just don't, like, there's no sense in feeling like that all the time, you know? It's like, I don't get how people can just be mad all the time or upset all the time. There was this.
People like it. Some people like it.
Yeah, that's fun. That's exactly what I was getting at. There was like this, of all places, I was on TikTok, and this like joke. There was this dude who was making a fun of Italian dads and how they're always mad. They're like, everything that's happening is like, it's always someone's out to get them and they're always mad. And I'm like, that's exactly how my grandfather was. Like, he was always doubted whoever was telling him something. And he was always just like, no, that's not how you. But he was like, in the end, in his mind, it was for the greater good. Like, everybody, his whole family would benefit if he made sure they got the best outcome in the situation. But like, how can you just be mad all the time? How can you just be upset about something that's not going to matter 2 days from now all the time? But that's just how people are wired, you know? And it's just the podcast, like doing this with you and speaking more freely about this stuff has gotten me to understand people more, you know? I get like, everybody's different. Everybody approaches life different. Everybody has different ways of dealing with things. And it's like, I respect that too. You know, you can't, I'm not going to sit here and be on a podcast with you and try to like be preachy and be like, all we need to do is just calm down and everything will be fine. No, that's not what I'm saying. You know, I'm saying what's working for me, what might work for you. But like, I get it. People want to be mad. You're from New York. Oh, hey, that's what you know, I'm mad, whatever. So I get it.
You thought it's gabagool?
But all right, you got any last words? I'm gonna call it a podcast for now.
Call it a pod.
Yeah.
I got nothing, man.
Well,
next week I'll probably be mad about the government still.
Welcome to our new podcast. Neil hates the government. Well, thanks for joining us this week. Tune in next week when Neil complains about, when Neil talks about how much he hates the government.
I'm pretty sure I understand that I have the freedom to say these things because we live here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if they fix the shit, I wouldn't have to say these things.
I like it.
I wouldn't need the freedom to say it.
That's a good note to leave it on. All right, we'll see you.